Started here. So hi everyone that just joined us. Thanks for joining us today for the event, How to Scale Your Business Faster with Aircall and HubSpot. So I'm Megan Brooks, Account Executive at BrainSell, and I will be your host for today. Also on the line, we have Sarah, Manager of Channel Partners at Aircall, and Zoya, Principal Growth Specialist at HubSpot. So super happy to have you both here. We're covering a lot in a short amount of time. So why don't we go ahead and jump right in. So just for the agenda today, this will be a 45-minute coffee break, 15-minute discussion, followed by a 15-minute demo of Aircall and HubSpot, and 10 minutes of Q&A to wrap up. And just as a reminder throughout the webinar, please type questions into the question box to submit them, and we will be able to try to answer them during the Q&A. So before we get started, a little icebreaker poll question. What type of phone system is your company currently using? So go ahead and take a look at the selections here. The options we have are using the traditional hardware-based phone system, using a cloud-based phone platform. They're already using Aircall, or we're primarily using our cell phones because of remote work or hybrid work, or you're not sure. So we'll give a minute for you guys to go ahead and select your answer, and then we'll kind of go over the results quickly before we get into the nitty-gritty. Once we have the majority of you guys in there, we'll reveal the results. I know over here at BrainSell, we do leverage Aircall. So just to give you some insight to what we're using, which is really great compared to using my personal device. So just a quick plug there. Great. Okay, so answers we see here, 100% of y'all are using your cell phones because of remote work. So that's a really interesting answer there. I was just expecting a little bit more of a mix, but any feedback on my panelist side as well? You guys thought about that?
I just know personally, there's nothing worse than when I get like business calls on my personal phone, you know, like those moments of desperation we've all had where we've given like someone, a client or a partner, a prospect, our personal phone number, and then they're calling them on weekends. So if you're using a cell phone to do your business, we should talk after, or you should talk to the BrainSell team about how we can help you avoid those weekend calls.
Definitely. I get a mini panic attack when after hours when I see an area code that's not familiar to me. Yeah. So it's definitely nice to have the Aircall app there to kind of monitor what's business versus possibly someone trying to sell me extended car warranty.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, let's move into our panelist discussion now, where we can kind of talk a little bit more about kind of the benefits of leveraging something like this. But I want to kind of start to talk about the announcement that HubSpot just made with the strategic investment in Aircall, and kind of tell us the significance of this and the value that it'll bring to customers. So awesome. You guys can start off.
Well, I can jump in on this one. So first off, we're super excited about this announcement and what it means for all of our shared customers and partners. Aircall and HubSpot, we're both extremely customer-centric companies. We've been working together for years now. And really what this funding does is it's going to allow us to be able to take that next step and dive deeper into our relationship. Okay, so like, how are we doing that? As HubSpot's #1 most installed telephony partner, this funding is really going to continue to show the alignment between both of our businesses. It's a strategic investment, right? So what that really means is it's going to allow for additional product and integration alignment between both teams. We're going to be having deeper conversations with the right people. We're going to have more visibility, more knowledge, and a stronger product as we continue to move forward and grow. I think that for us, and like for what I'm really excited about, where we win, it's in the details. And really what that means is like any phone provider can build an integration that logs contacts or logs details to HubSpot contact, right? And many do. But the reason that we have 6 times more installs than the nearest telephony partner, according to what you can see on the marketplace, is because we're very focused on those details of, you know, how and where a call is getting logged, on what those post-call follow-up processes look like. we really just continue to focus on how that experience is for a rep who's using the product. And what I'm most excited about is we're going to be able to have deeper alignment on future product updates as well. So for example, HubSpot's going deep into Service Hub, so we're going to continue to be aligned and have those deeper conversations so that we can build the best Service Hub integration possible for our partners and our customers who are already using both tools.
Joya, anything to add there?
No, I mean, we're just very excited because the closer that our partners integrate with us, that means the more functionality we can add to the tools over time. That gives us better solutions to give to our customers. So in general, it's just exciting for us to have such a close partnership with Aircall because I know I get tons of questions all the time about which telephone systems I should be using and what's your top installed app. So I'm really excited to be able to share this with our customers as well.
Yeah, definitely. And that was super timely too. It wasn't planned in terms of the timeline of this webinar. So
I had no idea, to be honest. They don't tell me these things in advance. So I knew, I thought when I got your email, I was excited.
Yes, props to our marketing teams for predicting ahead of schedule.
Definitely. Awesome. And with that too, since everything is going digital, with the advent of new digital channels for prospecting and handling support issues, we often hear that the phone is dead. What role do you think plays in sales and customer experience success today?
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit last year. I think we had a very similar conversation around telephony, and Jana Scorsone, who's our head of North America, said point blank, the phone is dead. The traditional phone is dead, and I think that we can all agree with that, right? I mean, you think of when our COVID situation happened 2 years ago and we all left our offices and we all left those desk phones sitting there. And I don't know a lot of people who were worried about bringing them home with them and or have picked them up since then, right? The way that we're interacting with customers and prospects has completely changed, even was changing before the pandemic, but I think the pandemic has accelerated how we're working with them and how people expect us to interact. So that desk phone that I'm calling people from, it does nothing for me. It doesn't pull up contact records. It's not going to tell me about past interactions. And in a sense, that phone is dead. We don't want anything to do with it. Really, I think the way that we see voice moving and how our customers are interacting with it now is when I, as a user, call in, let's say my flight got delayed, I want the agent on the other side to know who I am, why I'm calling, how I've interacted with the brand. If I have status with them, I want them to know that and escalate accordingly. And I can't do any of that with just my desk phone, right? So using a tool like Aircall that's going to be integrated with whatever CRM help desk you're using and is going to give you all of that information off the bat is really going to help us to kind of, I guess, bring the phone back from the dead and help keep up with modern times processes and people's expectations.
Joy, anything to add there on the HubSpot side of things?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to yes, the physical phone, I think has got a good old layer of dust on it back at my desk at HubSpot. But I think that voice definitely has an important part to play. I know that a lot of people are much more email focused these days. But the more that I think we've all been there this can be solved so much easier with just a quick call. Right. So I think that there's a lot to be said about maintaining that voice relationship with your customers. There's a lot of things that are lost over email, such as tone, right? You don't want to lose tone or get things mistranslated, or we've all been there where we're trying to explain something and the email's getting just a little too long. I'm like, I'm going to maybe just leave a voicemail or send a video or something. So yeah, I think that, voice going forward is going to be very, very important. It's also, I feel like, less competitive in that space because the majority of people are going to be reaching out over email, especially when it's spam. So the people that are calling you are typically either with something more timely or something more relevant, and it's also less noise in your voicemail box or on your phone. So I definitely wouldn't disregard voice as a core part of your sales strategy and just communication, especially post-sale, right? You want to continue engaging with them, make it easy for them to get their tickets fixed or whatever it is. That support after sale is also very deeply important.
And I can even, just to put my 2 cents here on like the account executive side, when I get someone on the phone, we typically have a better relationship moving forward because they're so used to so many salespeople in their inbox all the time. They're just more likely to kind of get lost in the sauce, frankly. So I definitely agree with all those points there. And Sarah, this question is directly for you as well. So at Aircall, you describe your solution as cloud-based phone system. Just for everyone here today, what is a cloud-based phone system, and why is it better than the traditional desk phone? I know we kind of talked a little bit about that, but any other points you wanted to add there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can build on that. I know we talked about the phone is dead. We're getting rid of desk phones, but what is a cloud-based phone system? So a cloud-based phone system it functions exactly like a desk phone, but with more features, right? It's going to live either on an app on your mobile phone or an app on your desktop, and you're going to be able to do everything that a traditional cell phone can do, make and receive inbound and outbound calls, but with those additional feature sets because we're integrating with your other tools. I think really the benefits of a cloud-based phone system like Aircall all come from how we're eliminating things like duplicate entry, right? We're plugging into your CRM, so you now no longer have to worry about after your post-call follow-up, go again and manually typing in that you had a call because it's going to tell you that you had a call. I'll show this in a little bit, but with HubSpot specifically, you can even use Aircall to trigger workflows. And so you'll have that call and then you add a custom tag and it will send the client an email afterward to follow up. Things like that that are in a cloud-based phone system, really easy to do and really possible, that we're super excited about.
Definitely. It goes beyond voice
Yes.
with Aircall, beyond, and we'll get into that in the demo, but like those workflows, the analytics, there's a lot of different features that go along with it that makes it more than just an extension of your cell phone.
For sure. The
That's
value add is a lot more than just picking up the phone, calling someone. It's being able to stay on top of and follow up with clients and prospects, right? It's being able to continue to have those engaging conversations and touch points because everything's talking to each other, so nothing's getting lost in the noise.
And to build off that too, Sarah, when do you feel companies are ready for a tool like Aircall?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, my answer to this has changed throughout the last few years. I think pre-COVID, our favorite saying was like anyone whose ad is on the New York City subway is a really, really great customer for Aircall. Like D2C companies, modern SaaS companies who are ready to be up and running and integrate. The really interesting thing that we have seen throughout COVID is that anyone who's using a phone is more likely than not going to be able to also benefit from using Aircall. From like a licensing standpoint, we typically see anyone with 300 to 500 users as a really good fit for the product. And then beyond that, if you're using any one of the tools that we're integrated with, so we're integrated with over 100 different platforms, CRMs, help desk, e-commerce solutions. And so if you have 3 users, you're ready to make that switch and have some of that flexibility, some transparency. If you want to go beyond just making the phone call and really dive into the data of the product, then you're about ready to have a talk with us.
And then just to kind of dive into the HubSpot specifics, because I know you said you integrate with a lot of things, but of course we have Zoya here who's going to be able to talk more about the HubSpot integration. Why is this integration with Aircall and HubSpot so important? Because I know HubSpot has some calling features, but this integration is really special. So I wanted to kind of talk about that with you guys and understand the specifics there.
I mean, what's exciting for us is the fact that, as I mentioned, voice is going to be a very important part of relationships moving forward, right? Megan even said it that, it's you get a better relationship with a person after a phone call. It gives you a chance to build rapport. With the way it's built in HubSpot, with everything being as much all-in-one as possible, right? So, I mean, there's going to be certain edge solutions, but at the same time, we're trying to make it easy for salespeople like us to be able to easily communicate with their audiences, keep those notes, not forget things. There have been times where I was keeping notes and then refresh the page and they didn't save. Then I can go back and listen to the recording, get that part that I missed, look at the transcription, control find what I need. So having it all integrated in one, especially when it's tied into the app, I believe, even like on your phone, it'll actually bring up their customer record, right? So if you're getting the call, even if I'm not at my desk, because I am guilty of being one of those people that does take calls on my phone, but even when I'm not at my desk, I'm able to pull up that record. So it does help me to work smarter. I am able to present myself better in front of my customers because I honestly don't remember every single person that I talk to, but when their record pops up and I'm like, oh, yes, Melanie, how's it going? I can see the information. Oh yeah, how's your daughter's wedding? Whatever happened that we talked about last time. It just makes a really good impression for customers, and it shows like, wow, they really care. Like this isn't just a big company or a small company that has only 5 employees. It shows a much better side of your employees, and gives you the chance to build those relationships that go just beyond email.
And I think building on that, you know, the way that we've designed the Aircall and HubSpot integration is to push reps towards working out of HubSpot, right? This integration is super important because we don't want people working on the Aircall side and only on the Aircall side. We want them using Aircall as a tool that's going to help them better utilize HubSpot and better work out of HubSpot, which I think is going to ultimately lead to them having those better relationships and better workflows, because everything just lives in one spot. All of the information is there. We can remember key details, and it's going to make those sales processes a lot more seamless than if they were working out of two tools separately, trying to make everything talk to each other.
Definitely agree. I agree with all of that. And I wanted to kind of wrap up like our panel session here before we jump into the demo and Q&A with kind of the overall large question that we're looking to answer. What trends should companies be monitoring when it comes to customer experience and growth over the next maybe 12 months and beyond? So you know how quickly things change, but based on your guys' experience, what should we be looking at here?
Yes, I think that we've touched on it a little bit, and this is maybe less of a trend than more of like the way that consumers and people who are interacting with people who are selling have changed their expectations. But I think the omni-channel support is going to continue to be something that's just massively important. I think that consumers expect a personalized experience that is tailored to their needs, right? I mean, we talked a little bit about how not everyone's going to be using the phone, right? There are some people who want absolutely nothing to do with picking up a phone and talking to someone, and so they're not going to resolve their issues because if they have to talk to someone, they're out, right? So it's really about providing an omni-channel approach where if they want to chat in, they can chat in. If they need to send someone an email, they can send someone an email. If we want to text someone, can we do that? Or can we pick up the phone and have an actual conversation? And I think providing as many ways as possible for our customers and prospects to get in contact with us is really going to allow, you know, companies who are using an omni-channel approach to stand out from the competition and create that really, really solid customer interaction experience.
Definitely. People love choice. I know I would like to have the ability to contact whichever way I want. So yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Could not agree more. The only thing that I would add to that is that the other thing that you want to be just cognizant of is that post-sale piece, right? That customers do have high expectations, and there is a lot of competition out there. So one of the things that, you know, I feel gets usually left as an afterthought in a lot of the companies that I talk to is that support piece of once they give you their money, once you spend however many months or years wooing them with all your marketing and all of your sales calls, and they're used to seeing your name on their caller ID and you're just constantly in their face, and then they finally give in and buy from you, and then all of a sudden it changes, right? And then there's more silence, more gaps in between that communication, the support, the onboarding, there's a gap. So those are the types of things that I think, you know, companies really need to take a very hard look at to see how is there a consistent transition from the level of communication I received pre-sale to then what I can expect post-sale, because that's going to hurt your NPS, it's going to hurt your referrals, right? It's like, oh, well, you only wanted me when you wanted money from me, and then you stopped caring. And it also gives you a chance to cross-sell and upsell more, right? So having that a very strong culture of engaging your customers, so when they are customers, and keeping top of mind over the course of the year, I think is really huge, and voice is going to be a big part of that. Because again, you can always check in, talk about the weather, the local sports thing, and say, oh, hey, by the way, how are the tools going? How's this and that? Oh, XYZ was annoying. Okay, great, we have a solution for that, right? So you can always kind of identify those little areas of opportunity much more easily over a few minutes over a phone call than over months in email if you're not asking the right questions.
Absolutely. Feels more personalized when you take the time to actually call them up. So I absolutely, everyone wants that white glove experience. So
yes,
definitely. Awesome. Well, I wanted to start to transition over to Sarah to show us how Aircall can actually work with HubSpot Sales Hub, which is HubSpot CRM. And we're going to increase productivity, resulting in more conversations with prospects and customers, and how Aircall can help us there. So Sarah, we can see your screen, so you are good to go.
perfect. I think that's like the Zoom phrase that we have all picked up over the last 2 years. Like, can everyone see my screen okay? So thank you for clarifying. So I didn't have to
You're on mute.
Yes,
Those
or
are
you're on mute. That is another one. Yeah. So really excited to walk you through Aircall and the HubSpot integration. Aircall's made up of two main components. We have the phone here on the left, and then we have the admin dashboard here on the right. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here on the phone and then walk you through the Aircall HubSpot integration and show you kind of how that's set up. So we really designed the Aircall phone to function exactly like an iPhone. We'll click here. It's super user-friendly, easy to toggle between different phone numbers. One thing to note, you can make and receive phone calls, both inbound and outbound, from any phone number that you're added to. So I can call my Beverly Hills support team, or call from that number is what I should say, and receive those calls as well. Or like, let's say that I'm a company that has offices in both US and Canada. I can add a Canada number here and go ahead and switch to that to really provide that local presence for my customers and prospects. The to-do list, this is where any action items throughout the call are going to live, or throughout your lifetime of using Aircall. I can see calls that have been assigned to me, so people who have interacted with the customer or prospect previously, and then I need to follow up. I can see any callback requests, any missed calls, and then listen to any voicemails. The great thing is I can click in here and I can see any integrations that they're associated with, see HubSpot. I can see the call information. I can see what line they called in on. I can listen to the recording, and I can view the notes as well. So all of this information is going to live directly within the phone app. And this is something that I'll move this here so that you see, but this is just the phone piece, right? So this is something that an Aircall rep will work organically out of this piece, and not need access to the admin dashboard that we have here on the right. Beyond that, history is where, we're going to see any of our previous call activities. People, we have both our contacts, which do sync both in and out of HubSpot, and then our teammates as well, so we can see their availability status. But really the goal around the phone and the user experience is that whoever is using this will use it in tandem with whatever CRM or help desk, so HubSpot here, and it will make it as easy as possible. So I want to show the integration, and to do so, I'm going to give myself an inbound call on my cell phone and show you what that looks like coming in. So I can see the call comes in here, and I can see immediately on this caller insights card, I'm going to be able to pull up the HubSpot record. I can see any deals that are associated, as well as any activities. Now, this is all before I've picked up the call. The great thing about this is that I'm going to be able to have a lot of information before I pick up and talk to Pierre. And I'm going to be able to know, who's spoken to them last. Had they called them before? It looks like we had a missed call. So what do we need to do to troubleshoot that? Are they going to be frustrated? And really make sure that we have all of that information in one place and that they're talking to the right person. Now, as far as the Aircall phone itself, up here we have our regular functions: mute, hold, keypad, can stop or start recording. In the middle, this is where the HubSpot integration really shines. So all of this will feed over into HubSpot. So I'll take some notes. I can add some tags. And these tags are what we can trigger workflows off of. So let's say that I had a great call with a customer and I needed to call them later that day to follow up. I could go ahead and do this, and then we could have it set up in HubSpot so that there's a workflow that sends a reminder, or if, say, we need to have a workflow that sends a follow-up email. And then I can also assign the call to someone else, like we saw on my to-do list, if, say, I'm not the right person ultimately, or someone else on the team needs to follow up. So I will assign it to Jacob. And then down here on the bottom, you can add additional people to the call or transfer both internally and externally if there's someone who's a better fit to resolve. Keep in mind, throughout the call, we're going to be able to pull up this caller insights card so we can see, any tickets, we can see any deals, as well as those contacts. So information readily available at your fingertips, going to make it as good of a user experience as possible. Now I'm going to end this call here. And moving over to this contact record within HubSpot, I want to show you what syncs over from the integration and how things are logging. So you can see here, I have a call connected. It came in from this person on this phone line. It was answered by this person. Now, the rest of this information is going to feed over in a second here. So I'm going to click on one from earlier today so you can see what it looks like. So there was an inbound call. It came in on this phone line. I answered it. Call back this contact at this phone number. You can see who we assigned the call to. You can see those tags that we added, and subsequent workflows would be triggered off of those if you set it up accordingly. And then any comments that we have also added in the notes section. Additionally, I can listen to those recordings, and it's really just going to allow us to have that seamless experience and make sure that nothing's getting lost in the noise. We also have custom properties here that we can trigger those workflows off of. So these are going to come out of the box when you install the Aircall and HubSpot integration. So last Aircall call outcome, last use Aircall tags, phone number, and yeah, you can set up workflows for any of those. So really easy to do. Keep in mind this information will also log to tickets and deals. So it's going to be as easy as possible to access what you need to when you need to. And then I just want to also jump over to this sales dashboard here. You can report on all call activity within HubSpot. I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the phone, you know, the goal really with reps especially, and with anyone who doesn't need like that very specific admin access, is to get them working almost exclusively out of HubSpot, just with this phone here, right here to their left. So I'm going to be able to see all of this information because it's all logging into HubSpot. So calls made by rep, missed calls per agent, you know, I can see our total call activity, the inbound call reports, total call duration, etc. Really giving people the ability to make smart decisions about their business and have a strong understanding of what's going on the back end, so that we can do things like staff accordingly, coach the right teams, and then make decisions using the data from both of our tools talking to each other. All right. And then finally, so we've seen the admin dashboard here on my right-hand side. I just really quickly want to show what the integration setup on the back end looks like. The best part about the integration is that there are so many things you can do with it, and all of it comes with drop-down menus out of the box. So you install the integration within Aircall. It takes less than 5 minutes. You're going to be able to add it on a per phone number basis. And then we'll be able to decide by literally using drop-down menus what the outcome for every single call is, whether it's going to create a new contact in HubSpot, whether it's going to create a ticket, and then even general settings like should we record SMS activity after business hours. So all of this will come just out of the box when you set up that integration, and it's really going to make it so that if you're using Aircall and HubSpot, you can customize the integration to work for your business needs, which is pretty cool. And then finally, I just want to show you the live activity feed. So this is the one piece where if you're working outside of HubSpot, you'll need to jump in as an Aircall admin to do this monitoring. And I think it's pretty great. You can come in here and see everything that's going on with all of the people who are actively using Aircall right now. So I can see the number of people who are in calls. I can see who's available. And if I have a lot of people using it, like we do at our organization, I can even filter by the different phone numbers or users. One of the coolest features about the admin dashboard and about this live activity feed specifically is this coach function. So if I click on this coach button here, it's going to pull up this phone, and I'm going to have a few different options. I can either toggle this on and notify Megan when I'm joining. It will tell her that I'm joining, and I'll be able to whisper to her and coach her through the call without the person on the other line hearing me. Alternatively, I can toggle this off and then listen incognito. I think that this feature is something that we've all found ourselves wanting more of, especially as we've moved into this hybrid remote work world, and it allows us to still have that personal touch and to be able to coach our employees as we move throughout the sales processes.
I think they do mine when someone, sorry,
I just
am used to someone coaching me like through Teams. So like typing me like, oh, you should have asked this then or something. So that's definitely a really helpful tool in the moment, just be able to tell them what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And it saves us on follow-up with our customers and prospects after the fact, right? Because someone can call it out and you can say, oh, actually, and let me add this, and you resolve it there. And then you no longer, it's like one less bullet point on your follow-up, which I think is pretty cool. And then finally, just want to note, this is where you'll also configure any numbers, add additional users, etc. So it's very easy to use, really easy to set up, and a pretty seamless product overall. So if you have questions about it, I think BrainSell mentioned earlier, their whole team is using it. So they're really, really great experts to work with in terms of configuring both Aircall and HubSpot and how to optimize it. And I would definitely lean on them.
Right. Really appreciate that, Sarah. I've seen that demo a couple of times now, and I still seem to find myself learning something new every single time. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Great. So looks like we're going to transition over to the Q&A now. So I'm going to see the questions that have been fed through. And it looks like the $1 million question, Sarah, how much does this cost?
Yep. That's a great question. So we have 2 packages, Essentials and Professional, and they start at $30 and $50 per user respectively. The great thing about Aircall is everything's included. So onboarding, inbound and outbound minutes to US and Canada. It's very, very predictive pricing. So what you see listed on the website is truly what you're going to pay. And the HubSpot integration can be used with either package.
And I know you had mentioned earlier any companies between like 3 to 500 users potentially. So does that mean that the minimum amount of users to start up with Aircall is 3? Like that's just part of the rule book?
Yes, yep, correct. We have a 3 license minimum. That doesn't mean that you need to have 3 people using the product. It just means that that's what our minimum license or minimum cost is going to be. We actually have a lot of companies in like the real estate space who are utilizing Aircall with 1 or 2 licenses because they get an immense amount of value for it.
Definitely. Yeah, I use it every day. So yeah, go ahead.
Question on that, is 500 the max? Because I have a few real estate companies that could be interested in Aircall as a solution for them.
No, 500 is absolutely not the max. We are really SMB to mid-market focused. I think that when we say like 3 to 500, that's typically where we'll see people start to realize like, oh my gosh, I need to use a phone system. What am I doing? It's not talking to anything. And so we work with, companies who will start with 250 and scale with us as they grow. We have companies with more than 500 users using the product as well.
Excellent.
And then you talked about just now the setup for Aircall. So what does that process look like? How hard is it to do? What does that actually look like to get it implemented?
Yep, so the setup is very simple. You can be making a phone call within less than 5 minutes of creating and setting up an Aircall account. We have internal teams to help support you from everything from moving over your phone numbers from your existing provider all the way through that onboarding process and making sure that you're ready to go. But out of the box, 2 to 4 weeks with a really, really great hands-on experience from our onboarding team.
And then Zoya, I guess like the same question for you. When we've done specifically HubSpot and Aircall, have you seen like good success, very quick setup out of the box? I know pretty much everything comes ready to go. So
I mean, you can get a minimum viable product up in less than an hour, both with Aircall and HubSpot. And then, there's a lot of resources on setting up a more complete HubSpot CRM in like a week. But of course, then it just becomes your templates and all your resources and playbooks and all the other stuff you want to add to it. But yeah, in terms of starting to use it, 15 minutes maybe, just to connect your inbox, get your calendar set up, get your Aircall downloaded, log into everything, and yeah, you're good to go. Very intuitive. We have tons of resources to help make it a just hit the ground running type of experience.
That's what's so great about these cloud products. They're so quick.
So easy.
And the days of complexity.
Truly. I just even want to add on this, like minimum viable product, getting everything set up, 15 minutes easy. But then you want to really optimize it, right? And I think that that's one of the reasons why we love working with BrainSell so much, is because they're going to come in and they're going to really help with that. They're HubSpot experts, they're Aircall experts, and they're going to come in and find ways that companies can really get the best use out of both tools to go beyond that minimum viable product and really making an experience where we're benefiting from the investments, which I think is super stellar. And they're great to work with.
Strategy, that's the book for.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, I mean that's really a plug to our developers, our engineers, really our resources that are experts in getting those workflows set up, bringing your vision to what you want that entire process to look like, whether it's all the way from lead to post sale, like Zoya was saying. It's so important to make sure that you stay connected in all of those areas. So it's definitely appreciate that plug there, guys. But it's mostly, like I said, I give it up to the engineers and developers that take the time to really understand what that vision looks like and then bring it to life utilizing these tools. So it's a really amazing process to be a part of, for sure. And I'm just double checking here to see if we have any other questions. And it looks like we covered them all. Okay, so I know we're ending just a little bit early, but that'll be nice for you guys to take a deep breath before the next call. So I want to thank Zoya and Sarah for joining us today, and thank you all for attending. As a reminder, When you schedule a meeting for a deeper dive, you'll be entered to win a Yeti cooler, which is going to be very valuable as hopefully where you are, the sun is coming up and things are getting warmer. So after this call, we will be sharing the recording and following up with you later this week to get feedback on content and schedule any next steps. But I want to say thank you again, Zoya and Sarah, and have a great rest of your week. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us. Bye.